Hi, everyone. Kelly Jean here, the founder of Kelly Jean Wellness, and I help women reclaim their body, mind, and spirit. And so, one of the things I specialize in is helping women end the cycle of binging and emotional eating and really reclaim, their health, right? And also really gain full control over their eating and their lives and really become the woman that they're meant to be and really live the life that they're meant to live. And so with me today, I have an amazing woman, Wanda, who I've been working with, and I wanted to introduce her to all of you and have her really share her experience because she she represents so many people, who are really stuck in the cycle or have been stuck in the cycle of binging, emotional eating, or compulsive eating, and who, really feel powerless over their weight. And there's so much that goes on when we're stuck in that problem, right? And I love doing this work, and especially working with women such as Wanda, where she got to a point where she was done. She was absolutely done with living in the problem and living in the pain, and she was so ready to absolutely make massive change and ready for the coaching. And so we've been on this journey together, and I just wanted her to be able to share with all of you the most amazing changes and shifts that have occurred for her, and that so that you understand that these are possible for you as well. And you're going to relate to a lot of things that Wanda has experienced and gone through when she first came to me, what she was living with as far as the problem. She was really stuck in the problem, and then know how quickly things can shift when you show up like Wanda has to the work and you're ready to be coached. It's amazing how fast we can absolutely shift. And this has been the story with Wanda. And so, Wanda, thank you for being here today with us and being willing to share, a little bit about what's been going on with you, with others. And so happy to work with you. I absolutely love our work together. And I want you to just share, if you will, a little bit about who you are and what you do. And yeah.
Okay, well, I own my own business. I'm a horseback riding instructor, and we have a program where I have assistants that teach lessons and ride horses. We have a very successful show team of kids that we're busy with. And I'm also a mother. I have a 15-year-old son and a wife. I also help caregive for some of my relatives, and of course for the animals that I love, that I have a lot of. What else do you want to know?
Yeah, no. And so I think the big point right there is that, you're somebody who is successful, you're professional, you've got a lot going on in your life, and, you're a shaker and a mover. And at the same time, you've really not been able to figure this part of your life out, really being able to get beyond the issues with the compulsive eating. I think you had, when you came to me, this was a problem you'd had most of your life. Is that right? Do you want to talk about that?
Right. Yeah, I've struggled with my weight my entire life. There's been some ups and downs, and when I was a little younger, I found it easier to do like a crash diet and be a little bit successful for a while. But as I got older, that wasn't working for me anymore. And I just kept with the weight gain. It's really gotten in the way. Obviously, with my profession, I'm outside. I need to be very mobile. I'm supposed to be riding horses. I find that very difficult at my current weight. And even just the agility in my body, it's hard to get around, the endurance. It's kind of hindering not only my life, but my career as well.
Yes.
It's been a big struggle for especially the past 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. When you came to me over a month ago, just a little bit over a month ago, that was, we really got in touch with what are the things that you've been missing out on, and what has this been costing you being stuck in, the cycle of binging, emotional eating, and also having all, the extra weight, that you've been carrying, and how that's gotten in the way of you being able to live a full life. And so, yeah, your first thing was, my gosh, the thing I love most is riding horses. Is what I do. It's what I do for a living. And I can't even do it. You can't do some of what you used to do on the horses. So you really lost that. And there was a lot, that was huge for you. Also, I think, too, you were facing your future. You were looking at your future health, and it was real scary for you, knowing where, the symptoms that you've been experiencing, knowing how much weight you were carrying, and then looking at, well, where is this all headed?
Yeah. Not knowing where the end was going to be or what that was going to look like when it's already limiting me now, and I'm 41 years old, but it's been increasing for the last 4 years. Then it leaves me, wondering where I'm going to be 4 more years from now or 8 years from now. And I was experiencing, along with the weight, I was experiencing a lot of stiffness and some joint pain, certainly out of shape, the agility, the mobility. I mean, even just leaning down to tie my shoes, I have to hold my breath so that I can go tie my shoes. I mean, it's frustrating, a frustrating place to be. And then it's a livable place to be, at least for now, but not knowing whether that was just going to continue getting worse and feeling like there was nothing I could do about it.
Exactly. And Wanda, you have, obviously a piece of my old story too, because I also was, 211 pounds, I was obese. And so I understand exactly what, and it too was with me since early childhood. And so that's why I do what I do, is being able to lead women to freedom and get to the other side of it. And it's wonderful, the journey is incredible. And, so but you have to get to that point, which you did, which was, and I did too. I had to get there where I finally just said, oh my gosh, it's the fear. It's like fear set in for me. I didn't know where it was headed. It wasn't good though. And I knew that. I had acid reflux, which I think, that was your also symptom, that you had some digestive problems along with all the inflammation and the pain in your body as well.
I think that the image too kind of leads to sadness and depression. And since I am definitely an emotional eater, then whether I'm celebrating, I'm eating, or I'm happy, I'm eating. But then if I'm sad about my weight, I'm probably going to eat, or depressed. So there's a lot of sort of a cycle going on emotionally with the eating and in my life, along with the fear.
Exactly. And it gets to that point where, you eat over everything. Right? Everything becomes a reason to eat. And so, so it's really, I think there was just so many different reasons why you were ready. And so, it's been just a little bit over a month, and maybe you can talk about some of the shifts that you've made. I want to first quickly say too that, you could never get below that. Let me talk about, how you have really been frustrated too, because you've done so many diets. Prior to coming to me, do you want to talk about that? How many different things you tried?
Yeah, and I'll list a lot of things. It's not that these things don't necessarily work, but for me, I couldn't either stick with them. They weren't going to work for me, or I couldn't stick with them. But I had done Weight Watchers. I had done a lot of shake programs with Isogenics, with Thrive. Shakeology. I had tried Phenermine, Metabolife. I had really kind of jacked up my system a little bit with those about 4 years ago. And some things may work a little bit at the beginning, but I would inevitably bounce back higher than what I started at, which was really frustrating. I tried to be vegetarian. I tried to be, I just was really at a point where I was really depressed about it, because I felt like it was absolutely out of my control, that I was just something I needed to accept, and that there was no way that I could actually change it.
Yeah, you really felt utter defeat. And so what's beautiful is that now you're recognizing that when, and what we did was with the nutrition, we started out, getting her, the first thing I do with my clients is get them into blood sugar stabilizing with the nutrition, knowing exactly how to do that. And so, you had never been able to get below the 225 mark, and you started out at 230. Wait, was it 230?
Yeah, 230.
And you're now down to 222. So you broke not only the 225 mark, but you're 3 pounds underneath that. And so that's just a matter of a month. And so she's just right on track of like losing just the right amount is what we want. Anyway, this just is the perfect amount of weight to lose, a couple pounds a week. I mean, it's just beautiful. And so the blood sugar stabilizing with the nutrition absolutely works. And Wanda, you got to really witness that, because I think you, along with a lot of women, when I first start working with you, it's like, good luck, Kelly, if you think you're going to get me below a certain weight. I just don't lose no matter what. I get that all the time, you know? And then sure enough, right, you know, you're losing. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and that's absolutely what I was kind of thinking. I mean, obviously I had enough trust to take a little leap and give it a try, but I was telling myself, well, you know, don't get your hopes up, because you haven't been able to change it. Nobody else has been able to change it. You as in me, I haven't been able to change it. Nobody else has been able to change it. I think the blood sugar stabilization was huge. I actually didn't have any information about that before, and that's after reading a lot of different books. I still didn't have any information about that. So starting off with that was great, and it also helps with my mood, the blood sugar stabilization. So I think that they kind of go hand in hand, which I had definitely made a commitment after the time 4 years ago with the phentermine, and it had sent me kind of off the edge emotionally, and it took me a couple of years to get back, and that's a whole nother story. But I had committed to not doing anything to lose weight that would be unnatural. So
Beautiful.
That was kind of my big deal, is like, well, I got to figure out how to do this, but I want to work with nature to do it. I don't want to work with chemicals to do it. That didn't work for me last time, and I suffered major consequences because of it. So when I came to you, that was a clear request, and the blood sugar just seemed to make a lot of sense. And then when I started putting it into practice, I felt difference right away, both with the mood stabilization, but also with the weight starting to come off.
Yeah, and that's why I start there first, because, you know, in all fairness to everyone that I work with, if you're not blood sugar stabilizing, then you're going to feel more emotional than ever, and a lot of the erratic moods come from not being stabilized with blood sugar. So yeah, I absolutely get the physical, you know, balance in right up front, and then we move into mindset and how to start to look at the driving factors that are going, you know, that are also contributing to the stress that, and I never want to say this, and you've learned this working with me, that you got to get to a point. This is what I help my clients do, and Wanda can testify to that, is getting to a point where you're not any longer eating over the stress, because we cannot escape stress, but we can certainly minimize it, and we can start to take charge of areas of our life where it has spun out of control, and we need to, you know, start to renegotiate parts of our life to then create more balance. And that's what we've been doing here, and Wanda's been doing a great job of that. And however, so when I say this, I say the contributing factors, things that were kind of, you know, making things that were causing her to be out of balance, right? And then she was certainly eating over those, you know, those stressors. So let's talk about those. The amount of responsibility that you have had, being a mother, being a wife, being a business owner, has been outrageous. And you really have been more of like, and you'll admit this, right, a caretaker gone awry, right?
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that?
Well, I would say, you know, I can sum up a lot of the feelings in the one big word: overwhelming. That my life, at least, was overwhelming with all of the tasks and responsibilities. That, of course, produces anxiety. It causes me to feel like I'm running from minute to minute to minute. So then you also feel like maybe you can't eat healthy because you don't have the luxury of time to prepare yourself something, you know, healthy. So it sabotages with the weight there. But yeah, just trying to take care of everybody all the time, and all the animals and all the people, can be very overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, you literally got in your car one time and drove 3 hours just spontaneously.
Yeah, it's just I like ended work. Well, I actually ended a little bit early. I was supposed to be there for a little bit longer, and I just thought I'm just gonna. There's a bridge there that we walk across the bridge to the car. I'm like, I just looked at the bridge. I grabbed my keys. I walked across the bridge to the car, got in the car, and started driving. Didn't tell everybody where I was going, and I just headed east. And I just wanted to drive until I was just far enough away from everybody. I don't know what my end game was, but
Hilarious.
driving. I drove east over Julian. I went down into the desert, kept driving east. It finally got dark, and I got a little scared. And
Oh my gosh, I just love that story. That is a hilarious story, actually.
I don't know what I'm doing now. I think I should head home.
Yeah, I mean, and that happened before we met. That was kind of like something you shared with me. That was like, yeah, this is where the stress has led me to doing something like this. So now you've renegotiated so much of your schedule and your life, and you really saw how you were able to do that. And so do you want to, and so now you're feeling more grounded and more empowered, more in control, more balanced.
I've worked on shifting my perspective a little bit. I think that, thinking about what I originally attracted me to the career that I'm in, trying to, even write down or brainstorm all the positives of what attracted me to that career that's still there. All those positives are still there, even though I wasn't really seeing them. And then at the same time as, becoming grateful for the position that I'm in, I'm also learning to delegate a little bit more so that I don't have to be the only one that's doing everything or supplying everything. Part of that's probably a little bit of the control freak in me, that I want to I want to be in control of everything, but I'm learning to delegate more to my assistants, even to my husband. He's a great guy, but of course, if I don't delegate to him, he's happy to let me do everything. So he's also happy that if I sit down with him and or I'm realizing now that if I sit down with him and I tell him that I'm really overwhelmed and I need some support, he will step up to the plate. Both him and my son have been great about stepping up to the plate and allowing me to delegate some things to them as well. And then they can be supportive in that way so that I can actually have some time for me. And it's not just a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day task to take care of everybody else.
Yeah, it becomes a habit, living on the edge and being in that survival mode, and then imploding.
Yeah.
The implosion that goes on behind that is it's incredible. And so now now it's like having so much more space for yourself, and really being able to then actually make some pretty cool choices about how to actually enjoy the time and space that you have created for yourself, right? Whether that be a little meditation, whether that be, spending time with your husband and doing something enjoyable. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've tried to. Yeah, I'm a total schedule type of freak, and I like to write down my schedule. I have it written out ahead of time and everything. But so what I try to do is actually make my time just as important as the other things that go into the schedule, instead of my time being the last thing that goes on the schedule, which of course means it's not going to make it. It becomes, I block out time that's just as important as, say, a meeting with a client or a horse show, and I really hang on to that and don't let anybody railroad it. So some things I like to do with my time is either spend it, even if it's just a couple hours that I've delegated, or I've set aside for date night, and it's going to be sitting on the couch watching a movie, but spending time with my husband where nothing else goes in that time slot. Or I have some personal horses that I have at a different ranch, which is actually a part of it. I moved them to a different ranch on purpose so that when I go to see them, I'm not bombarded by all of my own clients and my staff with all these questions. That's not very fun for me. That's not my time. So my horses actually now live at a ranch where nobody cares who I am or what I'm doing there, and I can go see them and spend time with them and just be out in nature and doing my time.
Love it. And so I'm going to also bring up another topic that we're moving into as well. And again, we've only been working together just a little bit over a month. So there's a lot of things and territory that we've covered, but there's still a lot more, and it's wonderful. And one of the things is that, you know, Wanda's really coming into the real, the way of the future here, which is, and it's very, very powerful work. And that is, it's really shifting and changing and reprogramming the subconscious. And so there's like a whole thing that goes on with that. And it's really about retraining our conscious thought patterns, right? And looking at what are the habitual thoughts and emotions and beliefs that we've carried, you know, and then really taking a look at those and seeing what's not serving us anymore. And then being able to actually do the work of, you know, clearing them out, reprogramming ourselves and our thoughts and the way that we're looking at ourselves in life. And being able to then actually, it's a, you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work really, and he's the leader in this. Neuroscience is really what it's all revolved around, but it's reprogramming the subconscious, and it's literally breaking the habit of being ourselves, being our old selves, and actually stepping into the new us, right? Which is really, I don't even think it's really not a new us. It's really who, like Wanda said in the very beginning of working with me, it's like, I'm just not living in alignment with who I'm really meant to be. She kept saying that over and over again. So this work, when we start to break the habit of being our old self, we're actually stepping into the real self that we're meant to be, our most amazing self. And the big, you know, term that you hear all the time is our best self. And so that's what this work is really leading us to. And so, yeah, so we're really starting to move more and more into that work as well. And with that, you know, we can create a new reality. We can absolutely be and do whatever we want in life. And so everything that we want, it's really about already stepping into that new reality that we ultimately want for ourselves as if it's already happening. So she's really stepping into that work as well. And it's something very different and new for you, isn't it, Wanda?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, who would have thought that you can actually claim a new reality even though it's not here yet?
And it came at a good time because it's something that I've been kind of curious about, had picked up a couple or audiobooks that I like to listen to in the car about, wasn't completely grasping and certainly wasn't applying to my life yet, but it was a concept that I wanted to know more about when I met you, and was feeling like, well, I don't know where it is I'm supposed to be, but I'm not currently there. I'm not on the path that I'm supposed to be. I'm not far from it, but you know, I feel like I've wandered away a little bit, and I want to get back to that.
Yes.
That best me. Yeah.
That best you. And that's the work that we're doing more now. It's like, it's so beautiful. And I'm so excited just to continue this journey. And then, you know, there's also the spiritual piece too. And it's really coming into, because all of this, the foundation of everything, what I have found over all of these years that I've been doing what I do and applying it into my own life is that the foundation of everything has got to be love. For me, it's got to be love. Love has to be the foundation behind how I'm eating, my thoughts about nutrition, my approach to my fitness, my, you know, so the way that I'm relating to my body and my health, there's got to be, it's all about love and celebration. And, you know, and so just now the ways that I am, you know, thinking of myself and life, it's like, I really want more love. I want to feel more love. I want to expand into more love. And that greater, amazing, universal intelligence that I call God or love, I want to feel more connected and really in the flow and alignment. I want my life to be aligned and myself to be aligned with that greater force. And so that I'm not stuck in survival, right? And relating to myself and life from that three-dimensional place of, you know, the body, you know, my environment and time, right? It's like rather there is just this most beautiful consciousness that I want to be flowing in more, and then be able to feel and look and witness all of the magic that actually comes from that.
Yes.
And so that's more of the work that we're kind of stepping into as well. And that's just, that like comes in so many different forms. Meditation is a really powerful way to begin to develop a relationship with that most amazing consciousness, right? That quantum field, or that God consciousness, is really coming down into meditation. And that's something that you have started to dip into.
Yeah, it's brand new for me. I did maybe about 6 months ago was the first time I ever started meditating, but I have to listen to a meditation tape, something that's helpful. It would be for maybe 5 minutes, and then I'm like, squirrel, and I'm off to another thing. And then there was no one keeping me accountable for doing it. So then the last 2 months or so, I wasn't doing it at all. And you brought it kind of back onto the table, giving it some more life, some more idea to it, and the importance on it. And then also, needing to be a little bit accountable for it. Like, okay, the first time you introduced it, did you do any meditation? I'm like, no, but next time I will,
Yeah.
So just starting to try to get into that and just quiet myself. It's a really difficult thing for me to do because I'm used to being, 100 miles a minute all the time. But I think that it's going to be very healthy for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's just, we know that it's just absolutely the foundational piece of being able to develop that relationship with divinity, divine love, God, whatever someone wants to call it. And so, yeah. And all of this just adds up to, I mean, really, it's like such a fulfilling life. And I think you're feeling more and more relaxed and more at peace, aren't you, throughout this process?
I have times of peace, which before I can't say that I even had a moment in months of time that felt peaceful. Where now, when I take that time for me, I can usually get into being peaceful.
Yeah, and definitely
a little bit.
Yeah, and back to some of the practical stuff that we're doing. We're the food. We're looking at your blood work too. She's doing some blood work with me. We're going to look at your levels there. It's really getting it all together. It's dealing with the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and the physical, and bringing it all together. It's the full package. I have found that it's not just one thing that's going to take care of this problem, right? It's really bringing it all together. And I think that there's so many people that approach, and they want to approach compulsive eating, binge eating, the cycle of it, and having been stuck as it's a lifelong problem, as just one dimensionally. They're trying to do it through food and exercise, food and exercise, food and exercise. Well, you did that. I had done that for years too, and that never worked. And it wasn't until I really did the emotional, the spiritual, shifted the mindset, started really getting into that, all of the facets and bringing them together, learning how to be present to the emotions, learning how to be able to be present to circumstances that are happening in your life without eating over it, and then also knowing how to change those circumstances, and also getting the physical piece, getting yourself all the physical chemistry balanced. We're looking at your now we're going to look at your blood, and we're going to look at some different markers there, and see, if you're deficient in certain things. We're going to start filling in those deficiencies and doing some deeper work as well in that area. So it's bringing it all together, and you're doing the full gamut. And everybody, of course, that I work with can do it in different piecemeal at a time. They can do whatever they're ready for. But for you, you really wanted to kind of delve into all of it. So
yeah,
pretty exciting. And well, Wanda, I just could go on and on, and I am just super excited about all of the progress that you have made in just the short amount of time. And I think you can be, you're a great example and testimony of how quickly the changes can happen. And I think that we want to leave people in knowing that, right? Maybe you can talk about how fast things have shifted for you.
Well, and just the major idea that I am actually in control. I think shifting from thinking there's nothing I can do about it, it's not inside my control, that's a very depressing, oppressive feeling, all the overwhelming and everything, to go from that to then be about, 30 days later, feeling like there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't mind the journey. That's great. I don't need it to be tomorrow, but I just needed it to know that I am in fact in control and that there is something that I can do about it and that I can move in that direction to the light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like by losing the 8 pounds that I've lost so far, it definitely shows me, like, to me, that's great. It's not a crash diet. It's not a chemical. It's all natural. And I feel like it's something that I can actually do as a lifestyle, which makes me excited moving forward.
And it doesn't feel like a diet. And that's the main thing too. It's like real eating. It's real life and having a more normal relationship with food. That's what it's all about. But blood sugar stabilizing, understanding those components, how to do that so that the chemistry is balanced, so that your body is burning fat, your hormones are balanced, your brain chemicals are balanced, and your body's in a state of homeostasis. So yeah, it's beautiful. I'm so excited for you. And I absolutely love working with you. You are such a treasure. You are. You really are. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with everyone out there. And for those,
for inviting me.
Yeah, so wonderful. So any of you out there who are struggling, you can absolutely hear and witness that there is hope for you too. Feel free to reach out to me. You can private message me. You can also email me at info@kellyjeanwellness.com. Visit me at kellyjeanwellness.com and have a beautiful night.